If you've got some revenues, but your go-to-market machine isn't exactly spewing out quality leads and pipeline like a screaming Ferrari, then you've got some revamping to do. You've got some replanning to do. Here's the thing though, go-to-market machines for SaaS businesses, for B2B SaaS businesses, are sophisticated machines. There's so many components to it, so it can be really scary to figure out what do we focus on, what do we not focus on, how do we not break what's working, and how do we actually make it generate more traction for our SaaS business. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know to actually revamp your go-to-market plan and drive more traction for your SaaS business. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. If you are new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. If you are already part of this community, if you are part of my coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. So I remember in the early days of Toutapp, that's the last SaaS business that I started, I was having a conversation with my VP of sales. We just had a great quarter and we were looking at, okay, the next quarter obviously has a bigger target. We have to do more. We have more salespeople on board. And she was like, hey, listen, we don't have enough pipeline. Like we need to be generating way more pipeline. And remember, this is like baby TK, earlier days of Toutapp before, and I was still like the engineering minded founder. I was starting to embrace sales and marketing more and more. But baby TK looked at the numbers and said, look, you have a 20% win rate for your deals and the opportunities that we're giving you that the pipeline is generating. Just close more. 20% is a terrible win rate. Let's actually get it up to 30 or 40%. You don't need more pipeline, you just need to win more deals. And we both looked at each other and gave each other a stare down. Wonderful person. I truly respect her. She did amazing work for us. That was Baby TK. And I look back at that conversation almost, and I kind of smile and laugh and also cry because I was wrong in that conversation. And so over the last 15 years, I've learned a lot about how to think about go-to-market machines, how to think about the math behind the business, what areas to focus on, what areas to actually not worry about as much, what's normal and what's not. So in this episode, I thought it'd be really good to walk you through the 3 principles that I follow every single time I work with a founder on their go-to-market machine and their go-to-market plan to actually revamp it and drive more growth. And when you follow these 3 principles, you'll be able to understand what's going on with your go-to-market machine, what areas do you need to focus on, and what do you need to fix to drive more traction for your SaaS business. So if you're excited to dig in, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that, and let's go to principle number 1. So principle number 1 in understanding your go-to-market plan is you really first need to understand what's working and what's not. It's really easy to try and chase that one new trick you learned about in yet another YouTube video by someone that's never started a company. It's really easy to read about some pundit saying, nothing works, this is the new thing you gotta do, but sometimes that's just not true. The honest to God answer is their core go-to-market principles and parts of a machine that's worked for 50, 100 years, and our human brains work the same way, and so you just need to make sure you get the essentials right. Maybe there are some new tricks that do work, but you need to get your essentials right. So the first thing I always say is you need to do the math. A lot of times founders, they start off with nothing, right? And so they don't have any numbers, they don't have any data, so they have to make qualitative decisions. That's what we're really good at. But as you start to get things going, as you start to get things moving, something happens. You start to get more data, right? And you have to switch from just qualitative to quantitative and qualitative decision making. And what I always say with founders when I'm working with them to scale their go-to-market machine, to fix what's broken, to identify what's working and what's not, is let's just first do the math. And go-to-market math doesn't have to be overly complicated. This is how I break it down. You essentially first have traffic. How much attention are you actually gathering across your social channels or ads or whatever that's going into your web property, your website or your landing page or your app, whatever it may be? Out of the traffic, what percentage of them are becoming leads or trials, depending on your go-to-market motion, whether you're product-led or sales-led? Out of that, how many of them are truly becoming opportunities or activated trials, right? If you're product led. And how many of them are converting to actual revenue? That's it. And sometimes we don't stop to do the math on this basic funnel. This basic funnel is essentially what every single B2B SaaS business is following in one way or another. And if you can start to identify, okay, out of the traffic we are getting, how many of them are starting to turn into leads or trials? How many of them are actually activating in a trial or turning into a real sales opportunity for our sales team to talk to? And how many of them are converting revenue? And you start to actually understand the exact conversion rate on these, right? Each of these has a certain conversion rate. Then you can start to understand where the choke point is, right? Meaning, if you are starting to see like, you know what, we are generating revenues, but our benchmark of the traffic converting to a hand raiser lead or a trial, it doesn't match, or the number of leads we're generating, but they're not turning into real opportunities, you can start to understand where the things are breaking down. So this is where benchmarks come in really handy. So for example, this is rough benchmark. The mileage varies depending on the ICP and the audience and who you're targeting, but this holds true for most SaaS companies, and you can use this to understand where you stand. Roughly 10% of your traffic should convert to a lead. And I've seen this go as high as 20% depending on how good you are in your messaging and your positioning. From here, from the leads to the trials, roughly 10% should convert from a lead or a trial to a true opportunity. That means they have a clear need, they're willing to talk to the sales team, or they're actually activating in the product. And then from here to here, this goes back to Baby TK and my VP of sales, who's like a totally awesome person, talking roughly, and this is true, 20% of opportunities convert to revenue. And you might say, wow, 20%, like as an engineer, I was like, 20% is a really low number. Why can't we do better? And there are sales teams that do better. Sometimes inbound opportunities convert at 50%. There was this one moment where I had an aha moment because someone explained it to me this way. A mentor of mine, they're like, why do you think 20% is so weird? I'm like, I don't know, that seems really low. He's like, no, it's Pareto's principle, 80-20. 20% of the pipeline you generate is gonna be real customers. The rest aren't, it's 80-20. And as soon as he said that, I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. I was an idiot. I almost felt bad for saying that to my VP of sales. I'm like, she's totally right. We need more pipeline. So the reason I say this is when you know these benchmarks and this math and you compare it to what you're doing, you can start to identify what part of your go-to-market machine is broken based on the math. So for example, if you are converting 10 to 20% of your traffic and you are converting those leads to 10% of them into real opportunities and you're winning 20% of them, and all of this is working, then you would say, you know what, we're converting these pieces just fine. We just need more traffic. Meaning if we get more traffic, it'll convert just fine according to benchmark and we'll have more revenue. On the other hand, if you are generating a lot of traffic, you're getting a lot of leads, but none of them want to talk to sales and they're not using your product, then chances are the leads you are getting are bad. They're just shitty leads. They're not real leads. They're not maybe targeted to the people that want to be buying. Or you are getting the traffic from a group of people, you're giving a certain messaging that just doesn't resonate. So they're like, look, this is cool, I'll take the freebie, but I'm not interested in talking to sales or using the product. So it's totally useless. So now you know you need to focus on this side. If you are converting the traffic, you're converting the leads, and you're like, look, we're getting a ton of leads, but we're just not winning deals, then you can know that maybe we should need to focus on the sales process and get it to 20%. This is where this first principle, and I know this is going on for a while, but this is the most important and the rest flows through. If you do the math on these 4 pieces, then you can start to understand what component of your go-to-market plan you need to focus on. And this brings me to my second principle. So principle number 1 is do the math and figure out what's broken. Which area do you need to focus on? Based on the math and the area you need to focus on, then you can say, cool, what part of my go-to-market plan do I need to revamp? Now, if you watch this channel for a while or you work with me in your go-to-market machine, then you know that there's 3 key components to a go-to-market plan. So there are clear components. The first component is your ICP, your ideal customer profile. This is exactly a clear everyone thinks they have an ICP until they work with me and really flesh out their ideal customer profile in my go-to-market program. But your ICP is a clear definition of exactly who should be buying your product. That's one of the first key strategic components of your go-to-market plan and your go-to-market strategy. The second component is what I call your manifesto. Manifesto breaks down to your positioning in the market, your messaging, and your narrative. It is it is an all-encompassing thing that we create that really represents your positioning, your messaging, and your narrative. If you don't have a clear message in the market, you can be generating a lot of traffic. They may be looking at the lead landing form, but they will not convert. Or they maybe will just convert because you made it super easy, but they will not become real sales opportunities. Usually that means that your ICP is messed up or your manifesto is messed up. If you are having trouble generating enough leads and you're having trouble taking those leads and turning them into real opportunities and real revenues, usually one of these two things are broken. The third component, which people always blame, but usually is not the problem, but could be the problem, is the third component, which is your Broadway show. And the Broadway show is your consistent set of sales and marketing activities that you or your team or all of you together, or maybe the agency you hired is doing on a consistent basis. This is posting on social media, doing inbound activities like SEO and blogging, or posting content, doing outbound activities like cold emails, running ads. All of those things are a Broadway show that you're running, a consistent set of activities that you're running. Hopefully they're consistent to actually generate traffic. A lot of times when I talk to founders, they're like, look, we're not growing fast enough. We don't have enough pipeline. We don't have enough traction. It's the Broadway show. It's like, it's what we're doing. It's like, usually it's not always the Broadway show. This is usually the third culprit. Usually it's the messaging that's messed up or the ICP that's messed up. You're not targeting it in the right way. You're not talking to them in a differentiated way to compete in a crowded market. And therefore you're doing a bunch of sales and marketing activities, but it's not effective. Now, there are some cases where the ICP is fine and the manifesto is fine. They're just not doing enough activities or consistent activities. And usually the reason they're not doing that, it's not because people are lazy. No one's really lazy in this business. It's hard business to do. It's because they don't have clarity around their ICP or your manifesto, meaning they don't have clarity or enough certainty around their manifesto or who they're targeting to be able to do it on a consistent basis. And that's why they're kind of scatterbrained around. They're just trying different stuff. And so these are the three components that you need to know that actually help you revamp your go-to-market plan based on the numbers that you see in the math. And you can go back on this video if you want to kind of rewind and look at the math and then look at the components that may help you identify, like, oh my God, this is what's broken. It's totally fine. That's why we do videos like this where I literally lay everything out so you can kind of rewind, fast forward, and look at it. But the point here is principle number one, you want to do the math. And then principle number two, you want to look at the math, figure out what area you need to focus on, and then say, cool, what component out of these three components, which area do I need to focus on and fix? Is it the ICP? Who are we targeting and why are we differentiating? Or is it the messaging, how we're communicating, why we're different and why they should go with us? Or is it just our activities around how we're attracting these people by bringing the manifesto to the ICP? When you do this, you're able to get clarity on exactly what's working and what's not and what area to focus in. Now, there is a third principle that is super important. And before I go into that, let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? Instead of this really broad, nebulous thing of like, I don't know, let's fix our go-to-market, you can actually get very, very tactical about, cool, let's do the math. And then based on the math, let's figure out where it's broken. And based on where it's broken, we can figure out which of the three that we need to fix. Maybe it's one of them, maybe it's all three, maybe it's in a certain order. And you can actually start to do that. If you're starting to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. Also, if you're in this stage where you're looking to grow your SaaS business faster, be sure to check out my 5-point SaaS growth strategy guide. It's completely free. I'll link to it below. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode, but let's go to principle number 3 that brings this all together. Going back to the baby TK story with the pipeline story, at that point I was like, okay, cool. Maybe we do need more pipeline. Maybe she's right. Or maybe we do need to increase our win rates. Maybe she's right. Like I basically started to think about like, okay, what do I need to do? Who do we need to get to? And one of the big things you want to understand at this stage where you have some numbers, you have some revenues and you're looking to scale is basically say who versus how. It's very easy to go and try and binge watch 500 YouTube videos and say, I'm gonna figure out how to do this and I'm gonna be the savior and the smartest person in the room and then everyone's gonna fall in line. And that is a waste of your time. And I thought I needed to do that, but a mentor again told me like, hey, listen, you have a VP of sales. You need to figure out who you need to talk to really figure out how to get more pipeline and really crank that instead of trying to just do it yourself because you're past that point. You have product market fit. You need to get the right help. And that's one of the things that I learned over the course of the last 15 years. You always want to ask who. Like, who do I need to talk to? Whose coaching do I need? Whose consulting do I need? Who do I need to hire to make sure that I can address any one of these key components that I need to go revamp as part of my go-to-market plan. Now, I have over 100 episodes on YouTube because founders do like to understand the core principles. I run a go-to-market program where I work with founders and their leadership teams because they want the framework to follow to actually do these pieces. So you should figure out, who do I need to talk to actually fix the problems that we have in our go-to-market plan so that you can accelerate your path to that next stage of growth? And it's very easy to think that I need to have all the answers. I'm going to reverse engineer everything. I'm going to be able to do it. I'm going to be safe here. Don't fall into the trap of the how. Figure out who you need to talk to and figure out how do we actually do what we need to do based on the problem and the areas that we need to fix. And that's principle number 3. So to recap, now you know exactly how to revamp your go-to-market plan and your go-to-market strategy and your go-to-market machine so that you can drive more traction in your SaaS business. And you can do this in a scientific way instead of guessing or chasing one new shiny object. Principle number 1, you actually do the math. Figure out traffic, leads, opportunity, revenue, and figure out the conversion, compare it to benchmarks, and see where the choke point is. Based on that, figure out which of the 3 components, if not all, you need to revamp in your go-to-market plan. Is it your ideal customer profile? Is it your messaging? Or is it how you're delivering your message to your ideal customer profile using key channels? So ICP, Manifesto, and Broadway Show. And number 3, once you know where the problem lies, what the problem is, don't ask, how do I fix it? Figure out who you need to talk to so that you can accelerate your growth and accelerate your traction and get to that next stage of growth faster. That's what you should do. And those are the 3 principles I wanted to share with you. This is what I follow with everyone that I work with in my programs. And this is what I did when I was a founder. I still am a founder. I guess I have multiple companies now, but this is what I would do. This is the advice from the trenches. You may also be wondering, well, how do I do these pieces? What is an ICP? What is a manifesto? How do I think about a Broadway show? Who should I talk to? This is why I created my 5-point SaaS growth strategy guide. It's an executive summary that outlines 5 key ways that you can drive growth for your SaaS business, along with resources and details about how I work with founders, my go-to-market programs, and also key videos that you can watch to get a threshold level of understanding around this so you can make the right decisions on who to work with. All you need to do is just go to getunstoppable.com/strategy. It's completely free. It'll be delivered to your inbox right away. Getunstoppable.com/strategy, and you'll get access to it right away. And lastly, if you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. If you have a fellow founder, a team member, if you're part of a SaaS group or community that will get value from this video, we want to help as many SaaS founders as possible. We put a lot of love into these videos to help this community. So please share this video with them. Share it in a WhatsApp group, a Slack group, whatever you have access. It would just mean the world to us. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside the 5-point SaaS growth strategy guide, link below, or just go to getunstoppable.com/strategy. Incredible guide. I promise you, you're going to get a lot of value and it'll bring all these components together. Take care, everybody.